We all want our guinea pigs to be happy and healthy, and their cage, their home, has a massive part to play in this. A good or bad cage affects not only our piggies' quality of life, how well they get along, but also how easy it is for us to bond and interact with them. A bad cage, whether it be too small, badly designed, or difficult to clean, really can put you off being a guinea pig owner. So let's not make mistakes when it comes to buying a cage, and to help you make the right choice, I've spent hours and hours trawling through the options and reviews and narrowing it down to this list of 8 indoor cages, all with the availability to provide at least 10.5 square feet of open, single level space, as is recommended for 2 piggies, and of course all with their pros and cons, which is what we're gonna dive into. And first up, we have a popular pre-made, easily assembled and extendable, sounds good already, option. So the Midwest guinea pig cage is made of canvas, which attaches to a set of wire grid panels. And it's worth being aware that there are some similar versions of this cage, but the Midwest scores highest on the Amazon reviews. And as you can see, you can attach 2 or more cages together to make a larger version. And I would recommend this because a single cage isn't actually that big, it's only 8 square feet. So if you had the room and doubled up, you'd get a fantastic 16 square feet. But you'd either need the floor space free or a very big table, because these cages need a continuous flat surface underneath to support them. You do have the option of a roof if you have other pets, however be aware that the whole cage is quite flimsy. The canvas is described as easy to clean, especially if using fleece liners, however it doesn't come very far up the sides, so mess can get out easily. And others warn that some guinea pigs might try to chew on the Velcro straps and canvas, which is obviously not good. But weighing things up, I think I'd still rank the Midwest fairly high as a good value choice. You can't ignore the fact that they are one of the most affordable options out there and do generally receive good reviews. And at number 2, we have the pre-made CNC cages, which like the Midwest are easy to assemble. So CNC stands for cubes and coroplast, and they are generally made up of a corrugated plastic base surrounded by storage grids joined together by connectors. CNC cages have always been very adaptable, extendable, and popular options with piggy owners. So much so that now you can order from a range of companies that specialize in making pre-made versions. Brands like Kaytee, Guinea Pig Cages, and Cage Creations all make it easy to choose your size and your included options like top panels and stands. And they also offer coordinating accessories, coloured corrects, and even see-through panels, so the cages look attractive and nice in your home. On the downside though, those pre-made versions can be very pricey, and also having a set size could limit how easy it is to make adjustments or increase the cage size at a later date without doing some DIY and without it being too costly. And a common complaint is that these cages are just not sturdy. It's actually recommended in general that any CNC cage is secured with cable ties as well as the grid connectors, and even then they will still have a noticeable wobble to them. That said, pre-made CNC cages promise an attractive setup that is rated highly by a lot of owners out there. In fact, 28% of you said that you owned a pre-made CNC cage in my recent poll. Sticking with the CNC cages, and it's easy to think that pre-made versions are the best choice, but these cages were traditionally built by guinea pig owners around the world for many years, and a high proportion, 41% of you said that you owned a DIY CNC cage, which basically means buying the raw materials and building it yourself. If you're not too daunted by a bit of measuring, marking, and using a Stanley knife to score corrugated plastic, which is really all there is to it, then you'll probably get on perfectly fine and be able to make a cage just as good as the pre-made options for a fraction of the price. You'll also have a bit more freedom when it comes to things like deciding on the height of your plastic sides and making extensions, repairs, or adaptations with extra materials for very little cost. And there are loads of guides and tutorials out there online, and in my Amazon storefronts below you can find examples of the grids, corrects, tape, and cable ties that you need to create your own cage. And for all CNC cages, the recommended size for 2 piggies would be at least a 4x2. I think DIY CNC cages have to be my best value do-it-yourself option in this list. So there has been a problem with all of the cages so far, and that is a lack of sturdiness and strength. So if you're looking for a more durable option, Ferplast is one of the few sort of standard cage manufacturers that actually create cages large enough for guinea pigs. I know, you'd think there'd be more, right? And although advertised as a cage for rabbits, the Krolik 200 cage is a good size. It gives you 13.2 square feet of floor space, although there are some sort of raised sections along the floor of the cage, which means a fleece liner wouldn't lie completely flat. That might be not a problem for you. Personally, it would annoy the heck out of me. And I have included this cage because it clearly works out for some owners who've given it 5 stars. However, the Amazon reviews overall average out at 3.6, which isn't that great really. Most people tended to agree that the assembly is a complete nightmare, and many said that the cage is overpriced and should be better designed, including another annoying quirk where you can only add 40 centimeter extensions onto one end of the cage. You can't actually join 2 full-size cages together if you were hoping to do that. Also, some people said that the side opening makes cleaning difficult, whilst others say they're used to it and it works well for floor time as the piggies can hop straight out. Overall, I think the jury's out on this one, but depending on the situation, it could suit some guinea pigs better than others. Moving on, and if you don't like the sound of the Ferplast or the CNC and you don't have space for 2 connecting Midwests, then the Kaytee Open Living could be a good option for you. And this is another fabric-based cage with a wire grid surround, which is rated highly on Amazon. Most of the negative reviews on there, if you have a look, are from rabbit owners. It's clear that the cage is far too delicate for rabbits, let's just put it that way. However, guinea pig owners were impressed with the openness and the size of the cage. We're talking about the large one here, where you get 30 by 60 inches, giving you 12.5 square feet. And that's big. Some downsides are that the cage, like the Midwest, is pretty flimsy. Also, the base material is thin and it could be chewed or torn by naughty piggies or just accidentally. Others who wanted to extend the cage were annoyed because you can't run them side by side on each other's ends because of the position of the doorway in the middle of the cage. All that said though, it is a really good size cage, and if you did go for it and then upgrade at a later date, you could still keep the wire grid surround and use it as a pen or for floor time. The same goes for the Midwest as well. I just put that in to distract them from the water bottle, and now they are going to be chewing the cardboard behind me, I just know it. Next up, we're going handmade and bespoke. So if you have the funds, a fail-safe option is to go for a company that specialise in making timber and plexiglass cages, such as UK-based companies Hamster Homes and Woody's Pets and Garden, the latter of which you can find on Etsy. Now these cages are a bit special and you do pay for that, but that buys you durability, easy cleaning, no mess falling out the cage, and a smart looking home for your piggies where you can easily bond and interact with them. Excuse me, you meant to eat the hay inside, not the box on the outside. You can get custom built top panels, ramps and stands and replacement parts if you need them further down the line. And the reviews, as you can probably imagine, are fantastic. People are genuinely impressed with not only the quality but the customer service. So Hamster Homes do sizes up to 180 centimeters by 60 centimeters, which gives you 11.6 square feet, closely followed by Woody's shorter but deeper cage at 11.4 square feet. And if you think about it and how these days everything is getting more and more expensive and poorer quality, I really don't think these cages are extortionately priced by any means, especially if you think of it as a long-term investment for both you and your guinea pigs. Moving on, and this next cage I included in my 2021 review, and it is still one of the best sized traditional cages out there, and it's the indoor square cage by Little Pet Warehouse. It measures 1 metre by 1 metre, giving 10.7 square feet, and it has a sturdy plastic base and removable wire top with a side door and a top opening. Reviews were particularly impressed with the size for the price, which is miles better than any cages you can find in the pet shop. A few negative reviews mentioned that the assembly is not 100% easier, although by the sounds of things far easier than the Ferplast, and that the provided accessories like the water bottle and stuff were poor quality, but to be honest, you usually get that with any standard included accessories. On Amazon, negative reviews were all due to receiving damaged cages rather than any faults with the design itself, so that could have been a phase that they got over. And I think this one overall gets the best value traditional style cage. Next up is something different. It is a uniquely designed cage, which on first impression I thought it would get pretty poor reviews, but actually they are really, really good. And the cage I'm talking about is the Guinea Loft acrylic cage on Amazon. The largest size measures just under 8 square feet, so you would be wanting to extend this one to make it bigger. The sides of the cage are clear acrylic with lots of kind of holes and slots in, and the cage, interestingly, comes with disposable bottoms, which are apparently very effective, lasting enough time to be worth buying new ones over and over again. And people were genuinely impressed with the design, saying that the cage looks great and it's a massive plus having those completely clear sides. Many said that it's the best looking cage they've ever tried, and they appreciate that the company is just starting out and adding new products all the time. So there is now a top panel available as well as other accessories all within their Amazon store. And I think the only thing that leaves cause for concern is that some piggies can jump out, as the walls are a little low at just 25 centimeters. So this one gets the best non-standard option from a new company, and I would recommend going and reading the reviews for yourself if you're looking for a new cage and you haven't come across these ones yet. And if you've been wondering what this cage is behind me, it is actually our own custom built DIY furniture board and plexiglass cage. It didn't cost the earth, and I was really pleased to see that 14% of you on the poll had a similar DIY cage. It can't really be easily described in a video like this, so if you want to learn more, I'll put up this video here for you to watch next, and we will very soon be building a bigger and better version too, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you want to see that. And as far as my top 8 indoor guinea pig cages for 2024, if you have any experience with the cages that I spoke about in this video, I'm sure it will be a massive help to others if you could share your opinions down in the comments below. I really hope you enjoyed this video and it comes in useful for anyone in the market looking for a new piggy home. As always, thanks so much for watching guys, and we will see you very soon in the next one. Bye bye!